While the fear of the spread of the coronavirus continues, and countries around the world have increased their curfew and forced more than 1 billion people to stay in their homes, some major technology companies have suffered severe blows and heavy losses, due to the collapse of financial markets and the approaching global economy of stagnation, but some of the other flourished, as some companies in the technology sector, the home video industry, and electronic services were active to adapt to the current situation, under exceptional unprecedented conditions. But in order to face the truth of the matter, there is no winner in the global epidemic battle that afflicted, until Wednesday morning, more than 423,000 people in the world, more than 18,000 of them died, while more than 109,000 recovered. In addition to billions in economic losses. For the sake of clarity, Bloomberg says, we can divide technology companies into companies that will thrive, others that will survive, and others that will suffer, and look at the factors that will cause some companies to navigate this storm more brilliantly than others. The current crisis is much more dangerous and widespread than the global financial crisis in 2008, and it will take some time for the global economy to recover from it. 1. The companies that will thrive. Wall Street analysts are quick to identify companies that could benefit from the spread of the COVID-19 virus and the economic downturn caused by that crisis. Market research firm MKM Partners has pulled a set of stay-at-home shares of companies that have risen as a result of people staying in their homes, including Slack Technologies Inc. shares. Software, which increased 13% last week, and Peloton Interactive Inc. Sports equipment manufacturer, which increased 17%. John Luca, Director of Development for Dubai-based company, Thanks Markets, says the shares of companies that provide Internet TV services have maintained or have not declined sharply amid the sharp market meltdown, by supporting increased demand for some of their services. He continued, the current crisis is much more dangerous and widespread than the global financial crisis in 2008, and it will take some time for the global economy to recover from it. The crisis will establish for work and distance education initiatives, as well as staying away from traditional entertainment, until people feel confident again, even after the discovery of a drug for disease. Quote, meanwhile, Jefferies analysts say the time is right for strong budget companies, and they say Facebook and Google, which have strong monetary strength, are well placed for some opportunistic acquisitions and stock repurchases, although their shares each have declined 12% in the recent period. Among the leading candidates for e-commerce are e-commerce companies such as JD.com Inc., whose shares have fallen 5%, and Amazon.com Inc., whose shares are up 3%, and Walmart Inc. The value of its shares has not changed. Almost telecommunications companies and food delivery services companies. Zoom Video Communications Inc., Etisalat and Video Meetings, whose shares have risen 21%, have an effective and important way to work together from home and now have the #1 app on the Google App Store. While the social media application Nextdoor witnessed an increase in interaction by 80%, according to CNN. Although Zoom leases space in 19 data centers, it also relies on 2 other members of the burgeoning corporate category, Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. Amazon also supports critical services during the self-isolation period such as Netflix Inc. and Hulu. We can also add to the list of thriving companies social media applications Houseparty and Marco Polo, as their downloads increase in the iOS App Store and Google. 2. The companies that will survive the current crisis appears to have provided a lifeline to meal manufacturers, such as Blue Apron Holdings Inc. Its shares witnessed a 345% increase last week. My company Alphabet Inc., owned by Google, and Facebook Inc. You will be the least in the survivor category. People are searching for reliable information about the virus and looking to communicate with family members and friends. But the online advertising market is likely to suffer a recession. And with increased activity rates on WhatsApp, Facebook's Instagram service also appears to be clearly vacant. Perhaps no one is living his best life right now. Another survivor is Apple Inc., whose shares have fallen 18%, which have surely exceeded 3 difficult months of supply difficulties, but it is difficult to imagine that the company's customers would have any ability to upgrade their devices when this crisis ended. Intel Corp. joins, whose shares have fallen 16%, to this category as well. Computer demand has collapsed, but the acceleration of digital transformation may boost its other business in profitable servers.